Welcome to Spoiler Piece Theater, the podcast that doesn't give a shit about spoilers. We just want to talk about the movies. My name is Megan Kearns. My pronouns are she, her. I write film reviews for Edge Media Network, and I'm a member of the Boston Online Film Critics Association.
My name is Evan Crean. My pronouns are he, him. I am co-chair of the Boston Online Film Critics Association and co-author of your 80s Movie Guide to Better Living.
Yeah, you are.
I am.
So, if you've been listening to the past few episodes, you know that Dave is on vacation, and Dave is still on vacation. Hi, Dave. And
Hi, Dave.
So it is just Evan and I on today's show, and we're holding down the fort. We've got some movies to talk about like we do every week. But before we get into that, we want to tell you about our Patreon. Over on our Patreon, we have an exclusive audio for patrons, and it's on the 1997 film Contact by Robert Zemeckis, starring Jodie Foster. And it's the 25th anniversary, so we're talking about it. And actually, I didn't mention this on the bonus show, but it's kind of fitting that we talk about it because we're going to be talking about another sort of related movie, with Nope this week. So
Nice.
Yeah, so it's a great conversation. And so go check it out if you're a patron, and if you're not, consider joining.
Mm-hmm.
And we always talk about this at the end of the show, but I want to talk about it at the beginning, right up front. We have merch, and we've talked about it, but I want to remind you to go check out our website, spoilerpiece.com, so you can go to our TeePublic store and check out our merch. We have lots of great things like t-shirts, hoodies, tote bags, pillows,
Mugs.
all kinds of goodies. Yep, all kinds of goodies. So this week, we have 3 movies. We're going to be talking about Nope. We're going to be talking about She Will and Anything's Possible. And we're going to kick things off with Jordan Peele's Nope, which I saw. Yeah, this is an interesting one. And I really wish you had seen it, Evan.
Me too.
I know. If only studios would make screeners online accessible for everything, it would be so much better. Yes. No, and there's a reason why. I mean, I always want to talk about movies with you, but this movie specifically, I wish you had seen because I'm very curious because it's getting a lot of praise, but also some kind of divisive. I don't want to say divisive. I feel like bad is saying divisive because if you're not in love with it, that doesn't mean it's automatically divisive.
Right.
But yeah, it's definitely not everyone's cup of tea. And I have very mixed feelings about it too. And afterwards, like when I got home, my roommate asked me, "Oh, what did you think of it?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Like it took me a little bit to process. Yeah. So yeah. If I had to, now because this is Spoiler Piece Theater, we are diving into the spoilers. I will be spoiling things. I just want to say that because there are a few movies that I think might be better if you don't know the spoilers, and this might be one of them. So yeah, or maybe not. Your mileage may vary. But I just want to say, yes, the marketing around this film has very much intentionally kept it very close to the vest, very, very guarded. And I can see why. But we will be spoiling that here. Just a heads up.
Just in case you forgot where we were.
Exactly, because that's where we are. We're in the land of spoilers. So if I had to describe this movie in one sentence, I would describe it as Close Encounters of the Third Kind, but a nightmare fuel horror movie version.
I mean, that sounds interesting. You have my attention.
Yeah, it does. And in interviews, Jordan Peele said that while he was writing the screenplay, he was inspired by Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which to me was, but I read that after I saw the movie. It's very apparent because if you've seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which if you haven't, you should, it's amazing. It very much uses electronics when the UFOs and the aliens are around, where like train signals go haywire and TVs go wild and car lights and things like that. And this happens too, but in a different way in that everything powers down. So, I should give the one sentence summary. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm too excited to talk about this movie that I completely forgot about that. So this is the one sentence summary on IMDb. The residents of a lonely gulch in inland California bear witness to an uncanny and chilling discovery. That's
aliens.
True. Yeah, it's true. So the movie starts off first of all, it starts off in a very disturbing way. It starts off in the past, in the 90s, for you hear the voices for a TV show, and then you hear all kinds of chaos, and it's like you don't see anything. And then all of a sudden you see the feet of what appear to be a dead body and lots of blood all over a chimp wearing a birthday hat. And that will come up later again in the film with Steven Yeun's character, because he was a child actor on that set for this TV show called like Gordy or At Home with Gordy, where it's about a chimp and this family lives with a chimp, and it's his birthday, and something happens with Gordy the chimp, and he becomes murderous and just attacks everyone on set. And Steven Yeun's character as a child is the only one, I believe. Oh no, he's not the only one who survives. There's another survivor too. But anyway, it's horrifying.
Jordan Peele putting the monkey in the Monkey Paw Productions.
I know. It's very fitting. So that's how the movie starts, and you're like, what the hell? Where's this going? And then it cuts to David Keith, who's always great. Or Keith David, not David Keith.
Keith David.
Keith David, sorry.
Yes. Keith David.
I do mean Keith David. David Keith somebody else. But yes, Keith David is great. And he is a horse wrangler. He wrangles horses and trains them specifically for movies. And he lives in California in this very, very remote, small town. And Daniel Kaluuya is his son, Keke Palmer's his daughter, and Keke Palmer's kind of gone off to do other things, but Daniel Kaluuya is still there, and he works with his father. And then something horrible, a freak accident happens where objects are falling from the sky, like keys and coins. One hits his father in the eye, and then he's in a coma, and then he dies. And so it's like this freak accident that they say is from airplane, like an airplane. But that doesn't make sense. Like, why would an airplane have like weird random things falling out of it? So anyway, Daniel Kaluuya then notices that he sees something strange in a cloud, and he's very convinced he has seen a UFO. And he's telling Keke Palmer about it, and she's like, oh my God, it's a UFO. And then they're convinced that it is, and so they have to get a photo of it. And so they're worried about losing the ranch, and Daniel Kaluuya's had to sell horses to pay for the ranch, and he sold some horses to Steven Yeun because Steven Yeun and his wife own like this kind of theme park Western type thing where he does like shows. So as this is going on, it takes a while to unfold. It's slowly unfolding, slowly building, and it's very tense, very creepy. You find out it's not a UFO in the way you think. It's flat and it kind of looks like a saucer, but it's not a ship. It's an animal. And it's an animal living in the clouds and feeding on horses and humans and other animals.
Oh, the chupacabra.
Well, no, that's a goat that eats humans, but yes.
Sorry, I butchered it. I meant to say the chupacabra cloud.
But I'm pumped.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Daniel Kaluuya realizes that it's a creature and that it's feeding, and that very like Bird Box style, if you look at it, it's going to eat you. But if you don't look at it, it won't. And so then it kind of becomes this whole elaborate thing about capturing it on film, and they get a documentary filmmaker, and there's a guy from the tech store in town who's like been helping them set up cameras, who kind of like weasels his way into this story, and he's actually really great. But yeah, so it's very gory at times. Like there is a very disturbing scene where Steven Yeun thinks he has tamed it, and the creature comes every time at the same time of day, and it comes early this one time, and then it like eats everybody. And like you see them all going up the like creature's esophagus essentially, and it is extremely disturbing as people are screaming. There's also scenes of this creature like flying around, and you hear screams emitting from it of its internal people.
Ooh.
So this is a masterfully crafted film. No surprise, because Jordan Peele puts so much attention to detail and so much thought and care. And he's clearly a cinephile. He puts so many allusions to other things, but while still very much making them his own. The cinematography by Hoitame, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is really great. It's stunning. It has a very epic scope. This feels like a Western in certain ways, which is very cool. And from what I've read at Jordan Peele's interviews, that's very intentional. And yeah, the editing is really great. The sound design is probably my favorite element. It is incredible. There are so many creepy sounds that you're hearing. There's screams, there's horse screams. By the way, if you do not like animal cruelty, you probably are not going to want to watch this, although you don't see anything. You hear it, which is very visceral and disturbing. But yeah, you hear a lot of screaming, and it's very unnerving.
I was going to say, sounds like some unpleasant subtitles, unlike last week when we were talking about pleasant horse subtitles.
Yeah, very, very, very unpleasant. Yeah. So, I mean, I really like the themes that are being explored here because, like, in addition, so Jordan Peele had said that this was about spectacle and how people are addicted to spectacle, kind of in the way, like, he was inspired by like Jurassic Park and King Kong. And he was also inspired, I said earlier, Close Encounters, which is true, but also he was inspired by The Wizard of Oz and the M. Night Shyamalan film Signs. And that's very clear here. Like, those influences are here because the thing that gets people eaten is the fact that they can't look away, their obsession to look, their obsession to see what is happening. Another theme that to me was very apparent, and that there's a theme of animal exploitation being shown, like the way that Gordy the chimp becomes murderous and attacks everyone, the way that the horses are being used in films, although they seem to be treated very kindly by Daniel Kaluuya and his family. There's still possibly that theme, and also the theme that Stephen Yeun thinks he can tame this creature that no one's ever seen before, which is very strange looking and like looks like a flying saucer. But then when it, in other times, it looks like fabric unfolding and unfurling. It's very interesting. But yeah, there's that theme too. So I love the visuals, love the sound design, love the themes, great cast. My problem is that I feel like I didn't care about any of the characters, even though the acting is really good. So it kind of felt a little hollow to me because I was like, okay, these are all great themes. Okay, this is really visually stunning. I don't want to say who cares, but because that's rotten, but like almost like, why do I care about these characters specifically? And that for me was lacking. But I liked it overall.
Well, I'm glad you liked it overall. I think, I mean, having seen Get Out and seen Us, like, both fantastic movies. I think both really illustrate his craft and his ability to make a really compelling horror movie. Absolutely. And like, you know, there was stuff I didn't love about Us, but I feel like, you know, taking the 30,000 foot view, it's like, I still really liked it. I still thought it was a great movie, and it really had some compelling themes and some compelling visuals and, you know, good stuff. So it sounds like maybe a little bit of the same with this, like, not perfect, but like still pretty compelling overall. And I mean, that's awesome.
I think you raise a great point, though, the kind of notion of perfection, and that there is kind of this notion that you have to love a film, or if you don't, it's terrible, this very binary view. And no, that's ridiculous. And I'd rather someone swing for the fences and have kind of an imperfect, but really striking, really ambitious, really fascinating film that there's so much to dig into, which there is with all of his films. And this is no exception. I don't need it to be perfect. Yeah. I mean, like, so yeah, there's certain things that I wish were different. I wish, you know, like, I think this film could have been shorter. And if you're going to keep it over 2 hours, which I'm actually fine with, I think you can dig into the characters a bit more. But you know, that's just me, but it is a really, really fascinating film, and it's stunning. And I think it's going to generate a tremendous amount of discussion. I mean, like, even the Keke Palmer did an improv. She did 14 separate takes. She said this in an IndieWire interview, that when she's introduced into the film and she's introducing her brother and herself to a film set, talking about why they wrangle horses and why they train horses. And it's because they are descendants of arguably the first stuntman. The images, kind of the moving picture images of a black jockey on a horse, they're descended from him. And so, like, just those little moments. And then also, like, The Gordy the chimp is also supposedly, that's what the Chris Kattan Mr. Peepers SNL skit is. Like when Stephen Yeun is talking about the experience of what happened, he's like, oh, you guys know that SNL skit with Chris Kattan? And I'm like, oh my God, he's talking about Mr. Peepers. And that's supposed to be a spoof of the Gordy the chimp situation. And so it's all these really fascinating touches that, yeah, I feel like even if they don't all come together for you, it's still definitely worth watching. It's such a fascinating film and really visually striking.
Well, great. I mean, I was already excited to see it, but I'm even more excited now.
Yay! Oh, good. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts when you do see it.
Looking forward to talking about it. I'm sure there's a lot to dig into.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much more, but that's for another time. Let's move on to She Will. And She Will is a British horror film. It is directed by Cheryl Colbert and written by Kitty Percy and Charlotte Colbert. And it stars Alice Krige. And let me give you the IMDb summary. An aging film star retreats. Oh, it might be Scottish, not British. An aging film star retreats to the Scottish countryside with her nurse to recover from surgery. While there, mysterious forces of revenge emerge from the land where witches were burned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty apt description.
Yeah, and it's funny too because IMDb technically they have two descriptions, and when I was getting ready to watch this movie, I read the first description, which I feel like is a little misleading, but also just doesn't make it sound as good. And I actually like the shorter description better because the other version doesn't mention anything about like witches really, and that I think is like one of the most compelling and fascinating like parts of this movie.
Oh, 100%. I completely agree with you. If I didn't know about the witches, I wouldn't be interested.
Like the poster is just really cool. It's just like half a flaming head with like a pentagram behind it. And I've seen other ones that show like the witches like surrounding like a burning pyre in the forest. Like it's just
that was why I wanted to see it, because I'm like, Alice Krige and this flaming head poster, like I'm in. And woman directed, of course, that also, sealed the deal for me. But yeah, no, I was completely on board with this. So Evan, what did you think of the film?
I really dug this movie. I was into it. It is gorgeous. Like the cinematography is just breathtaking in so many scenes. Like there's so our lead character, we find out in the movie that she, when she was 13, was assaulted by this director who was played by Malcolm McDowell in the film. And, like they made this movie and it was like his big movie that put them both on the map. And like, there's a scene later on where she's taking revenge against him in this like amazing way. And like he falls off of it. He's pushed off of this balcony and falls and like cracks his head open on the ground. And there's just this incredible shot of his cracked open head with the blood oozing on the ground, and you can just see his reflection in the blood. It's just, there's so many good, just like gorgeous moments in this movie with like breathtaking cinematography. I couldn't get over how great it looked just constantly. But I also just think it's a really interesting, compelling story. It's like she goes to this retreat that's like in the middle of the woods, and we find out that this was an area where they burned witches at the stake. And so they're like, the burned human remains, like, all the ash and human remains of like giving the soil like magical properties. And so people like come here for healing. And it's like this woman just like starts like, there's this like black mud that starts like rising up and seeping everywhere. And our main character just starts like bathing in this and just starts acquiring these like powers.
Yeah, I'm here for that. I'm here for the earth magic.
It's just so eerie and so cool. Like, I think it's just like a really cool story of like this woman who's like recovering from cancer and finds this like magic mud that gives her like the power of the witches that were living on land beforehand to like exact her revenge.
Yeah, I agree. And also about the cinematography, it's no surprise that it's gorgeous because it's by Jamie Ramsey, who also did the cinematography for Mophie, which we've talked about, and
Oh.
Mothering Sunday, and Living, which Dave and I talked about briefly when we covered Sundance, which is also a visually gorgeous film too. All three of those are visually gorgeous. So yeah,
Mhm.
I agree with you. The cinematography, that to me was the best part of the film, actually, is the cinematography because it is just so striking. Completely agree with you.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess that was the thing that I like really locked into because I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. Like moment to moment, there's just so many amazing things to look at, even in the middle of the woods, a place I would never voluntarily go.
Wait, what? Okay, we need to talk about that later.
I'm just not an outdoor person. I feel like people who know me that I refer to myself as an indoor cat, so I would not willingly just take myself into the middle of the woods.
I've known you for like a decade and I did not know that. See, you learn something new
Yeah.
about people every day. All right. Well, now I know. Don't take you to the woods.
Yeah. Not a camper. Not my thing.
So I really liked this, but I wish I loved it like you did because I think conceptually, visually it's stunning. I agree. And
Mhm.
conceptually it's also riveting. I love a revenge film, especially when it's a woman getting revenge on her rapist child abuser. Like,
Mhm.
yes, like that is great. And what I love about this film too, about that, is it's never visually exploitative in that regard. It is
No.
hinted at, it is intimated. You know exactly what's happening. You know exactly why she's enacting revenge, but there's no need to show anything. And I
Right.
love that because there's no need to be traumatizing and triggering to survivors of and victims of rape and sexual assault and child abuse. That's not
Mhm.
needed. But I
No.
love that she's enacting revenge. It's great. And I also love like she's even enacting revenge on other men like when she's with the when she's with all the people in that retreat and the guy starts saying really shitty things to her and all of a sudden his hand is on fire.
Yeah. That was amazing when that
It is,
happened.
but it
That was
so
like the first
surprised
real
me.
thing too, where you were like,
Yeah.
wait, she did that. She's got powers now.
Yeah, don't fuck with her. She will
Yeah.
burn you or make you jump off a balcony.
Yeah. Wasn't he like making comments of like, oh, blah, 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 the patriarchy?
Yes. Yes, because she was talking about the patriarchy. Yes, and she was talking about how the patriarchy has like kept women down and so on and so forth, all accurate things. And he's like, oh God, not this again. And she's like, excuse me. And he's like, the patriarchy, blah, blah, blah. Yes. And then she sets his
Yeah.
hand on fire.
Oh,
It's
I found
amazing.
the line. I wrote it down in my notes. He said it's
Oh,
the war
nice.
cry of hysterical women biting the hand that feeds them, and then his
Yes.
hand catches on fire.
Yes. I'm so glad you wrote that down. I meant to go back and write it down. So I'm glad, so glad you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's great. That's a great scene. I love the scenes where she's torturing and haunting Malcolm McDowell. And then, you know, before he dies, like that's great too. Alice Krige is always great. I love seeing her in films. She is such a great actor. Unfortunately, this didn't quite work for me. And I think it's because of the writing. I wanted it to be sharper. Particularly in the dialogue, some of the dialogue felt kind of forced and kind of hokey to me.
Mhm.
And the character development, specifically of the nurse, played by Kota Eberhardt, I was not a fan of her acting. I was not a fan of that character. It just didn't work for me. I wish we'd kind of gotten a more interesting dynamic and relationship. I'm reminded of Clouds of Sils Maria with Juliette Binoche and Kristen Stewart.
Mhm.
And I kind of got that vibe between the two women here, sort of, but it didn't feel that deep. So I kind of wanted more. So I wanted better writing from that actress and better acting from that actress and better writing. I think that would have made me enjoy this film more. But the
Mm.
visuals are stunning and Alice Krige is great and it's a great concept. I'm here for women getting revenge on shitty abusive men through witchcraft. It's
Yeah.
great.
I mean, I liked the relationship between the characters, between the
You do.
lead and
Interesting.
the nurse. I thought they had a pretty good friendship chemistry, but I agree with you that the Desi character, the nurse, felt underbaked by comparison.
Mhm.
Like we get some exposition around her trauma, and so we like understand a little bit why these two kind of have like formed this trauma bond friendship, but her story feels very underbaked by comparison to the Alice Krieger character, like the lead character. It's just kind of like not as much there to like hold on to. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I liked that seeing them together. I thought they had like decent on-screen chemistry as like friends, and I love the moment where, you know, she sends Desi away because she's basically like, I don't even know what I'm gonna do. I could kill you. And then Desi's like,
that's a great
no,
scene. Yeah.
she leaves and then comes back for her. She's like, no, I'm not leaving you. And that scene where they're riding away in the car, I thought was awesome.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I agree with you conceptually. Like, yes, like on paper, that sounds great. But to me, I didn't feel anything. Like, and I think because for me, that just wasn't a strong enough performance, and it just wasn't strong enough writing. Because I think Alice Krieger, I've seen Alice Krieger in some shitty movies, and she's amazing. So I think
Silent
with
Hill.
her, exactly, I was thinking Silent Hill, but that's the thing. Like, she can do, to me, she can really take a shitty script and like do some amazing things with it, because she's doing such fascinating things with her body and with her voice, and kind of just adding these little nuances. So for me, yeah, I hear what you're saying. Like if I hadn't seen the film and I was just listening to you talk about it, I'd be like, whoa, that sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But because I agree, narratively it is, but yeah, just when I saw it, it didn't work for me. But I'm really glad it worked for you, and I wish it had worked more for me. But it's still a good film. I still enjoyed it. Still definitely worth watching.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have any final thoughts on She Will?
No, I think that's it.
She will mess up your life.
Yeah. I just
torture you.
enjoyed saying it differently. Like, she will. She will. Just like it's a title that just like you can say it different ways and get different like connotations, which is just funny.
Yeah, I like that. Also, I don't think they said the title in the film, which I know is a thing for you, which
Yeah,
also
it
is a
always
thing for
interpreted
me.
as-
I don't like that.
Yeah. If they did though, I would expected someone to be like, she will. That's how they would have said the title.
But that would have been so cheesy and terrible.
Oh, I know. It wouldn't have matched in the movie at all, but it would have been funny.
No. All right. Well, let's talk about Anything's Possible.
Let's.
So Anything's Possible is directed by Billy Porter. We love Billy Porter. It's great.
Mm-hmm. That's
It
true.
is written by Jimena Garcia Lecuona. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And it stars Eva Rain. Okay, here is the one sentence summary on IMDb. A delightfully modern Gen Z coming-of-age story that follows Kelsa, a confident high school girl who is trans, as she navigates through senior year. Yeah, it's very a little too succinct, but yes, that is true.
Yeah, there's definitely some more dynamics going on there. Like, you know.
Yes, definitely more dynamics. This is, so in her senior year, Kelsa has two best friends, and Kelsa's very excited about her senior year. She's very excited to go away to college.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to be a zoologist. She loves animals. She has a YouTube channel where she talks about animals, and she also talks about being a Black trans girl, and to her, which is secret because her mom, who is played by Renee Elise Goldberry, who I love and who is always great, she doesn't know about this YouTube channel. Yeah, and then Kelsa she isn't interested in dating anybody except she has a crush on a classmate in her art class, and he likes her too, and they flirt, and she's really into him, but then her friend M reveals that she's also into him. And then, but he doesn't like M. He likes Kelsa. And then he gives flowers to Kelsa in front of her two friends. And then all hell breaks loose because M is pissed off because she thought the flowers were from her because he told his transphobic and homophobic friend that. that they were for M because he wasn't ready to tell his friend that he had feelings for Kelsa.
Mm-hmm.
And then they become a couple. But then M doesn't want to be friends with Kelsa. And then what is the guy's name? Why can't I remember?
Call. Well, the people call him Call, but his real name he says later is like Khaled. Yeah. Right. People mainly just refer to him as Call because his friend is Otis, and they were like Call and Otis. That's what they called him. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, overall, I really liked this movie. It is just so jam packed with like gorgeous, bright colors and animations. It is very just like it's very poppy in a like fun kind of way. Like when they're in art class, they're painting self portraits or they're painting their each other's portraits, and then Call just like makes this like really bright, colorful painting of her that's like really awesome, and all the social media graphics, and there's lots of like videos. Like when you read a Reddit post in it, you see like a video of like the person writing it, which is kind of cute. And all the characters just like have kick-ass clothes that are like bright color. Like Collar's this like bright orange outfit, and Kelsa's got all these like neon colors, and like her friend's got like the crazy color hair, and like it's a lot to like soak in a very fun way. And I had read a review beforehand before I had seen this movie that kind of critiqued it for being a little too safe in some ways, like in terms of like the drama of the movie. Like, and I kind of agree about that to a point, but I do feel like later in the movie, everything's kind of hitting the fan, and I feel like the drama and tension is like really ratcheted up. Like especially after like there's this, whole thing where Call posts this video that Kelsa makes, saying that the school is transphobic, and they made her use a separate bathroom because there was a whole scuffle where you see in the movie, M pushes her first, and she just is like, get off me. And then M falls over and like breaks her finger. And it's like, oh, she assaulted me in the girls' locker room. And how dare she bring her. So there's that. And like he shares the video and it goes viral. And then she's upset that he did that without asking, and also upset that he feels like he constantly has to like speak for her or stand up for her or take care of her, and she doesn't like that. So I feel like we do get some pretty serious drama later in the movie, but in the beginning I feel like it was kind of like, okay, yeah, her friend likes him too, and she likes him, and then like I feel like it was almost like needlessly complicated that he's like, I'm gonna give the flowers to Kelsa in front of the friend. It's like he literally could have just been like, hey, come here, or like meet me outside. Like it just didn't need to be so dramatic in that way. But I get it. It's a high school movie. Yeah, you gotta stir up some drama. I love that his brother is so supportive of him. His younger brother, what's it, Arwen is his name? Yeah, he comes in like he's like, yeah, I've been reading your Reddit posts. Like I've totally like borrow your computer. I know that's like your post, and you should totally like ask her out. Hmm. Hmm. Mhm. 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 Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I agree with that. I think it is important to show joyous moments, and we've talked a lot about Pose on the show, and I feel like one of the great things about it is that it so definitely balances such serious drama about the queer and trans community, while also showing such fantastic moments of joy. So I see how Billy Porter could kind of draw from all of that and his own, previous writing acting experience to kind of put that into this story. So while it is safe, like I understand that there needs to be a balance, and I think there need to probably be a lot more movies about queer joy before we can really get into the muck, because like yeah, people are transphobic in this movie, but like I think, to what you were saying earlier, not as violently transphobic as I feel like people are in real life. There's a lot of transphobia. There's a lot of queerphobia, and it's on display here, but I feel like the kids and other kids in school, I think, are more supportive than I would expect them to be honest. Right. Sports. Yeah, it's like everyone's. Mhm. Mhm.
So, yeah, I thought this was lovely. I thought it was fun, like you said, and I loved Kelsa. I think she's a great character. I
Mhm.
think Eva Rain does a great job with her. I loved her relationship with Kyle. I think it's so lovely. It's very, very sweet. It's very tender. Except for him posting the video that he should not have, he's
Right.
very, very respectful of her, and is just in awe of her, of what a great person she is and how smart she is. And it's I think it's just lovely to see. And I have to say, like, I was going along enjoying this movie, and I'm like, how are they going to end this? Because he wants to stay in Pittsburgh
Yeah.
and she wants to go to either New York or to LA, and she gets accepted into UCLA. And I'm like, where is this going to go? And they have a very candid conversation about a long distance relationship. And she's like, no, I don't want that. And it's so wise and so mature, but I'm like sobbing. I'm like, no, you guys can make it. You kids should stay together. And they don't. They break up. And it's the sweetest. It is the sweetest, kindest breakup I've ever seen. And so often in movies, like I'm always reminded of, and I know you haven't seen Sleepless in Seattle, but in Sleepless in Seattle, they like break up. Meg Ryan and Bill Pullman, they break up. And it's like the most ridiculous breakup because she's like, yeah, I'm not in love with you. And he's like, I'm not in love with you. Oh no, that's in You've Got Mail. Anyway, both of the films are the same. They're like, I don't love you. Yeah, I don't love you. And it's so like, and I'm like, wait, what? I would be upset if somebody didn't love me, even if I didn't love them. Like I need a discussion. But here, it's such a like kind, undramatic breakup, but it feels earned. It just feels so earned, and it feels so lovely, and it feels realistic while still honoring each of them as individuals and as a couple and what they learned together about love and about compromise and, you know, working together and and romance, and I just love it.
It
that
is
ending
really
for
well
me
done.
just made it.
Yeah, it is really well done, and I like the kind of build up to it where you see their relationship progressing over the course of the summer and all of the montages of them spending more time together, and the breakup is really bittersweet. It's so mature in like a refreshing way, and you know, even after they decide they are gonna break up, they go in for like one last kiss, this like very passionate kiss, and they both say I love you to each other, which I think the movie's implying they have not said to each other before. So it's like, oh man, wow.
I know, it was a sucker punch. It was it was so good. And I love that, and Carl asks Kelsa before she leaves, he's like, I need to know what's your and it's so cute, it's so sweet and cute. He's like, what's your favorite animal? And she's like, oh, I don't know. And then when she's away at college, she sends him a link to a YouTube video that she made about her favorite animal. And I was like, and she's like, here's your answer. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. Yeah. I was like, I hope they get back together someday. But here's the thing. Even if they never do, you know that love changed them for the better. And I love that. I just love that.
Yeah, it's really sweet.
The best rom-coms to me are the ones that make you delighted and that make you cry. And this one made me weep uncontrollably, so it was great.
Yep. And they have that fun music video at the end too, where they're all dancing and singing through the high school. So how mad can you be at a movie that ends with a music video?
That is the question. How mad can you be indeed? So Evan, do you have any final thoughts on Anything's Possible?
No, it was a really good movie. I'm glad we watched it, and I was glad to see this was Billy Porter's directorial debut, right? I was excited to see his first, effort as a director. I think it's really well done. I think it's really solid. I love that he features a Billy Porter mural in Pittsburgh in one of the shots. I feel like, how can you not? If someone paints a mural of you, you gotta like give it some love, right?
I agree. He also was one of the music directors on the film, and he sang in a lot of the songs, which I think it was great. And did Michaela J. Rodriguez, which is fabulous because she's wonderful. Love her.
She is. Yeah. I just started watching Loot on Apple TV, and she's in it, and she's fantastic.
Yes. That's why I want to see it. I mean, Maya Rudolph and Michaela J. Rodriguez. Like, yes,
and
please.
Joel Kim Booster is in it too.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yep.
It's a good cast. All right. Well, let's do a quick recap. Okay. So Nope. Nope is in theaters today. I would say see it. It is definitely worth seeing. There's a lot to dig into.
Nope is a yep from Megan.
Indeed. How did I not see that? That was like right there.
Yeah.
It was low-hanging fruit. But you are the pun king, pun master, the puninator. So I feel like it makes sense that you got it.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, She Will is on VOD. Would you say see it? I'm going to assume you'd say yes.
He will say yes.
Yeah, it didn't all work for me, but I would say I will as well. She will say yes to she will. And then Anything's Possible is on Amazon Prime Video. I would say see it, and I think you would too.
Me too. Yeah, definitely worth seeing.
Yay! All right, so we recommend all 3 movies this week. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
That doesn't always happen.
No, no, it doesn't.
Especially lately. So it's nice to see some good ones this week.
Yep.
All right. So we want to give a huge thank you to our amazing editor, Otto Clammer. Otto, thank you so much for all you do. You make us sound great week in and week out.
Thanks, Otto.
I also forgot to mention at the top of the show, and we're going to do something bigger when Dave returns, but we celebrated our 8th year anniversary. That's huge. That's amazing.
That's right. Holy crap. We posted about it on social media the other day, and we said we wanted to do something when Dave is back. But yeah, it's like, holy crap, we've been doing this show for 8 years. Oh my God.
8 years. I know. Where does the time fly? So there's a lot of back catalog to listen to if you're a new listener, or if you've been listening all along and you want to revisit some fun ones. There's over 400 episodes. There's a ton of movies, tons of episodes.
It's always so difficult because people say like, well, where should I start? Or like, what's your favorite episode? And it's like, you could literally start anywhere. Like, and I don't mean that in a cop out kind of way. Like we're the kind of show that you could start anywhere in the catalog. Like pick movies you've seen if you want to start, that's fine too. But like, it's all good stuff. I don't play favorites with our episodes.
That's a great point, and I agree. Actually, not to also be a cop out, I agree. But yeah, my roommate often will skip over movies that he wants to see because he doesn't want the spoilers. But then he'll go back and listen to the episodes or the parts of the episodes where we talk about movies that he did see because he wants to hear our thoughts. And I think that's a cool way to do it, because I know some people just listen, ahead of time, and then that's, the point of the show obviously is we're spoiling it and they want to hear because the spoilers might make you want to listen. But but there's lots of different ways to access the show. And I think that's really cool that different listeners are accessing it on different levels. So jump wherever you want. So choose your own adventure. Oh man, Dave would love that. Because Dave loves Choose Your Own Adventure books.
Oh my God, does he love Choose Your Own Adventures?
Yes, he does. So if you want to start listening to some of those back episodes or re-listening, you can find us anywhere you get podcasts. We are all over the place. Or you can just go to our website, spoilerpiece.com. You can also find us on social media. We're all over the place there too. We're at Spoiler Piece on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and TikTok. So come follow us, say hello at all of the places.
Say hi.
Hi. And if another way you want to reach out to us, you can also send us an email. You can email us at spoilerpiece@gmail.com, or you can call us
at 862-21-PEACE.
Leave us a voicemail message, text us, and let us know what your favorite episode of Spoiler Piece is, or what movie you love that we spoiled, or anything. Do you love Choose Your Own Adventure books too? Let us know. We want to know. We love hearing it all.
Is there a movie you wish we didn't spoil?
Ooh, that's a good one too. Yeah, that's a very good one. If you like the show, please rate and review us by going to ratethispodcast.com/spoilerpiece. That will take you to your preferred platform of choice, and that helps us out tremendously. You can also review us on Apple Podcasts. That helps us out probably the most. Or you can also go to Spotify and rate us as well. But any ratings anywhere are a huge help. And thank you. And thank you to those of us who have already rated us. We appreciate it. And if you really, really, really like the show, consider joining our Patreon. For $5 a month, you get access to weekly bonus episodes like this week's episode on Contact. We had a great time talking about that film because it's a great film, great conversation. And you also get to vote in monthly polls. We will have a poll up before the end of this month. And so if you're already a patron, you know the drill. You know all the goodies you get. But if you're not a patron, consider joining if you can.
Yeah. We actually had a new patron join recently. So thank you for your support, new patron.
That's right. You know who you are. So that's going to do it for Spoiler Piece Theater. My name is Megan Kearns. I write film reviews for Edge Media Network. I'm a member of the Boston Online Film Critics Association. You can follow me on Twitter at OpinionSWorld or on Instagram and Letterboxd at TheOpinionS.
And my name is Evan Crean. I'm co-chair of the Boston Online Film Critics Association and co-author of your 80s Movie Guide to Better Living. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd as Real Recon, and that's real as in film reel.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.